Is it in good taste that Tyreek Hill is trolling Miami Dolphin fans about a latest report that he could be traded to the Los Angeles Chargers? Also, we will preview the Week 17 matchup between the Browns and the Dolphins on this episode powered by BetUS as we go into keys to victory, my matchup to watch, and so much more as the Miami Dolphins look to keep their playoff dreams alive this weekend, even though things are officially out of their control and it all could be over as soon as Saturday. Smash the like button, subscribe if you're new, and let's get into this.
Loses the football. Touchdown! Got it!
You have got to be kidding me.
Jalen Waddle has a Dolphin touchdown.
And he will score! Field down the near side, man open. Touchdown! The run from Tua Tagovailoa.
Touchdown!
He's going deep. It's going to be a touchdown again. Beautiful day to be a Dolphin fan. Let's go!
What is good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason. We're back here for another one. Appreciate all of you coming through today. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new, as you do. Man, we're in that lull between the end of Christmas and the start of the new year. So, man, we got a game to get through before we get to that new year too, as the Dolphins will take on the Browns this weekend. And speaking of the Browns, I don't know if you guys heard, but today the Browns, they restructured Deshaun Watson. The Browns finally publicly admitted they failed. So the Browns and Deshaun Watson have agreed to terms on a contract restructure, and that eases the salary cap burden for years to come. The reworked deal also signals the Watson is expected to be on the Browns next season. This is about the cap after his deal is up. So this is basically the Cleveland Browns admitting we messed up, so because, he had what's crazy right now is he's got a cap hit in 2025 and 2026 of $72.935 million. He has a $172.7 million dead cap in 2025. And what's crazy is the Browns, if you look what they're doing, they're keeping him through 2026, but they'll need to convert salary into signing bonus just to kind of, bring down the impact of those $73 million hits. So what's going to happen? The dead cap that's going to hit in 2027, it's going to be sky high when that contract is voided. So what the restructure probably did today is move back the void date on the contract and just adding dummy salaries into 2027 and 2028. So basically they're setting themselves up so they can set them up as a post-June 1st release in probably 2027. And then they can spread what's going to probably be around $90 million around so they're not hit with it all at once. That's the gist of it. That's crazy. Wow. It's just going to let them spread his cap hit. That's all. So it looks like Watson's going to be in Cleveland for at least 2 more years. Definitely next year. What a terrible contract. And all the Dolphin fans that wanted to trade for that clown. Oh my God. Oh. Jim, I'm not going to lie to you. I'd draft a QB. If a QB fell into my lap, if I was Cleveland, I would draft a QB this year, and I'd just make Watson the most expensive backup in the NFL. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, we're going to play him this weekend. He's not good. Jameis Winston, not good. Watson, not good. You might as well just have one of them be the backup, have that be Watson, and if you find the young cat, that young quarterback, just let him take the reins as number one. That's what I would do. Like, if a guy fell in my lap, I would still draft him, and I'd just make Watson the most expensive backup in the NFL. I wouldn't let that hold me back. You know what I'm saying? Now, I don't think they would either. You know, and I know people are going to say, well, you know, but then Watson could be a cancer and get in that young kid's ear. Nah, you could get rid of that. But look at what it's done. Look what this Watson contract, the ripple effect, my friends. You got guys like Myles Garrett, who we thought would be Browns for life, look totally checked out, and look like, and there's a potential Myles Garrett's going to be on the market this offseason. You know, guys who were supposed to be Browns for life are turning on that team over that contract. And you know what it is, too. You know what it is. You know the players in that building know how badly they screwed up letting Baker Mayfield walk and the price he was going to ask compared to what they're paying for what they're getting from Deshaun Watson. Like, that was a blunder. See? And that's a perfect example of the grass is not always greener on the other side. That's exactly what that is. When everyone just wants to move out the quarterback and blah, 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 that's a perfect example of the grass is not always greener on the other side is Deshaun Watson. Because you had people in this fan base fawning over him. And imagine if we were stuck in that. You think it's bad now? You think it's bad now? You think there's divide now? If Tua went to some NFC team and was balling out the way he had been the last couple of years in terms of led the league in passing yards, led the league in passer rating, leading the league in completion percentage like he is this year, while we're in Deshaun Watson hell, you think it's bad now. You think it's bad now. Imagine how much worse it would be. Man, the Browns going to do brown things. Bad franchise is going to do bad things. And that's the one thing I can give the Dolphins kudos for. What they've got out of the Tua Tagovailoa draft pick, even with the durability issues, the production they've got out of that pick, you know, from that position, it's the best production they've got since Marino hung it up. I mean, it was the first Pro Bowl quarterback in Miami Dolphins colors in 30 years. So, no, it's a dead cap. Yeah, it's a dead cap. No one team can take a dead cap hit of $170 million. It's over. So he's unreleasable. That's how it's been designed. He's unreleasable, right? It's crazy. Deshaun Watson, I thought Hakeem Olajuwon to my Toronto Raptors was the worst contract in sports history. And oh boy, this one doesn't just take the cake. It took the whole birthday party. It took the balloons. It took the banners down off the sides. It came in like the Grinch and took all the birthday presents. Holy Jesus. Like, this is the worst contract in sports history. And there were people in this fan base that legitimately wanted us to sign up for that. The same people who said Skylar Thompson was quarterback one. The same people who said Josh Rosen was a franchise quarterback. The same people who said Bridgewater and Brissett would beat out Tua Tagovailoa. The same people, I tell you, are more wrong about the quarterback position than the weatherman is about the weather in a 365-day yearly cycle. Okay? Crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. And because the Miami Dolphins were smart and didn't listen to these people, and we are not in cap hill because of Deshaun Watson, these people are going to continue to act like they never want. They're not going to bring it up, but they'll continue to harp on Tua to deflect what they should actually be called out. How many times they've been wrong? Crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Unbelievable. I don't know. Nuts. And thank God. And send me 3 Hail Marys up to the heavens. We didn't get locked into that disaster. That's all I got to say. All right. Man, Deshaun Watson is bad. Like, and you guys want to talk about durability issues. Not only would you have been paying him this for this dismal quarterback play, but you'd have even worse durability issues than what you had with Tua. I mean, like, this fall off on Deshaun Watson is something that needs to be studied. Unreal. And there were people advocating, and if they would have got their way, we'd be in this cap hell. How did he fall off so bad? I don't know, man. Like, back when this was all going down, I remember I would talk to Ian Dolphin fan behind the scenes all the time, and a couple other people, and I'd always say to them, like, he's been away from the game for a while. Imagine if he comes back and he's just nowhere near the same. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. I guess, I mean, you can stay in game shape as much as you want, but it's like the speed of the game changes. The game changes, you know what I mean? And I don't know, maybe just mentally he's not locked in like he used to be. He's not playing as carefree. I also don't think the offense in Cleveland really works in his favor. It asks you to do a lot of things he's not very good at. So I think that's an issue too. I think scheme, being out of the game, where he's at mentally, has all kind of made into this SHIT salad sandwich. And Cleveland Brown fans got to eat it. That's basically where we're at. And, now there's no chance of them even trading him and we finding out if it was scheme, because they basically locked him in for the next 2 years. That's basically it. And then look at how him and his agent screwed up the whole game. The first fully guaranteed contract, and look at how miserably it failed. Think about this. Like, it fell on its face. There was a lot riding on this. Could the NFL switch over to the NBA? And we're talking fully guaranteed money for the most physical sport in the world right now. And this thing is going down historically as one of the worst contracts ever. No GM is going to hand out another fully guaranteed contract ever. And if they do, it won't be for a very long time. But I don't think it'll ever happen again. Deshaun Watson basically ruined it for everybody. And I don't know if you saw on Twitter a couple days ago, but his burner account, which people are claiming is his burner account, was basically saying he wanted to go to Atlanta. And because of the money Cleveland offered, he took their offer. But there was a tweet from his burner account, and it was talking about the whole Cousins situation and how he'd still be down to go to Atlanta because that's where he originally wanted to go until Cleveland came with their offer. So, what a mess. What a mess. And we'll get into players courting other destinations in just a moment. But before we do, just know that this episode is powered by BetUS. The Dolphins and the Browns face off this weekend in Cleveland. And the Dolphins are favored by 6.5 points by BetUS. Go to betus.com. Use promo code YouTube150. That's YouTube150. Get your first 3 deposits matched by 150% up to $2,000. 24/7 customer service. Some of the quickest payouts in the industry right now. Shout out to BetUS for sponsoring this show and this channel. Go use BetUS for all your sports book needs. All right, let's get into it. Tyreek. So Tyreek was out here trolling Miami Dolphin fans because that's what he loves to do. And this is what he did. The Los Angeles Chargers are the co-favorites to trade for Tyreek Hill if Miami moves on for him, per Bovada Official. So Bovada Official is a betting app. Tyreek is an 8-time Pro Bowler, a Super Bowl champion. LA will heavily pursue a major offensive weapon to pair with him. And look what he does. Look what he does. Eye emojis. See how he puts up the eye emojis? Just straight up trolling Dolphin fans. You know, and this is what bugs me about this, bro. Why are we doing this? What's the point here? Like, why is Tyreek Hill trolling Dolphin fans over joining the Chargers? You want to be a troll? That's your whole MO? Okay, that's cool. That's hey man, that's you, bro. That's you. But we're in the middle of, you know, we need things to go our way, 110%. But right now we are in the middle of a push to the playoffs. We're still alive. Like, we are totally still alive in this thing, and you are out here trolling this noise? Like, I just don't understand. Like, what's the point of this? Why even entertain this? Like, why are you even entertaining this? This is what I don't get. Like, and this is what bugs me about this situation. Why are you even entertaining this? Like, where are we at in this situation where this is where you're getting off on trolling Dolphin fans about joining another team? What? Is this because you're mad that we're calling you out for key drops and big moments? Is this your pettiness because we're not just, you know, bending over? Please, Tyreek, can I have some more? We're not just doing that to you. We're calling you out because there's multiple people, including the quarterback, the head coach, and you on offense that don't show up in critical moments. That's where we're at. Now you want to troll it? Go join the, hey, listen, go join the fucking Chargers, Tyreek. You know, seriously, go. Go ahead. Go enjoy how Harbaugh uses you. You think you'll ever sniff 1,800 yards in LA? With how they basically turned Herbert into like a game manager? And how it's just old school football, run it, and play hard defense? You think you can go put up 1,800 yards? You're not going to have a chance to shoot for 1,800 yards in LA. Go. You want to go there? Go. Bro, you should be so focused and locked in. You should be so focused and locked in on handling your business over the next 2 weeks that you shouldn't even be listening to that noise. That should be blocked out. But here we are again. What are we doing? Tyreek's true colors always seep through a little bit here. You've gone from someone I was praising a few years ago to being when you got here after that first year, I said you were a fantastic leader. Last year was a disaster in terms of a off the field and leadership standpoint. And now this is getting even worse, especially from things I'm hearing behind the scenes. Listen, we're not even eliminated and you're doing this. If you were eliminated, would I agree with it? No. But at least I would see it. You're in the middle of trying to make a playoff push right now and you're doing this. Unbelievable. You know what? Like, I'm getting sick of this shit. You know, last year, every week it was, you know, the nonsense going on off the field, you know, with that model you flew in for your little camp and then she was suing you and all these other, you know, every week it felt like a new paternity suit was coming up. You know, when Deshaun Elliott was talking about guys more focused going to the strip clubs and living that Miami life and stuff like that, I mean, keep it real, $150. He's the one who slaps you in the face the hardest. X was the other one, but X is gone. And do I think it's a coincidence on every Hard Knocks episode where they showed us as a team, the team sitting together, that X and Tyreek were always sitting together? No, birds of the same feather flock together. Not surprised at all. Now, do I think Tyreek and X were the only ones Sean was talking about? No. I think the list runs deeper than that. But, I mean, we know, you know... This guy, if anyone's living the Miami Dolphins, Miami culture and living the nightlife out there, it's definitely Tyreek Hill. And this is what I've already said about this situation, and I'll say it again. Brady had Moss for a couple years. Allen had Diggs for a couple years. Mahomes had Tyreek for a couple years. Tua's had Tyreek for a couple years. This year has proven, with the emergence of Jonnu Smith, with the first time we've had more than three, it's going to probably be four by the end of the season. It's going to be the first time we've had either 3 or 4 receivers of over 500 yards. Now, one of those is going to be Achane, but we're going to have over 3 to 4 players with over 500 receiving yards. That's going to be the first time in the McDaniel era. Tua's learned. Tua's grown with Tyreek. Everything he's learned with Tyreek, he can pass it on to the next guys that come through, like you've seen Mahomes do with the guys that have come through KC, like you've seen Allen do with the guys who have come through Buffalo, like you've seen Brady do with the guys who came through New England, etc., etc. So, you know, and we still got Waddle, and we still got Jonnu, and we still got Achane. So, scary thing for Tyreek is you're acting this way, but we've proven this year we can win games without you being a vital piece of the offense. And people are, well, the coverage he takes and the coverage he dictates, sure. But you can find other speed guys and or other great route runners and good receivers that are going to now. Will they dictate as much coverage as him? Probably not. But they will dictate coverage and they will dictate assignments and they will dictate attention from defenses. Now, and the other thing too, you got to look with Tyreek, it's got to be a post-universe trade. That's the only thing that makes sense. And I would temper my expectations. We're not getting no first-round pick for Tyreek Hill. You're just not. I would be shocked if you get, honestly, I would be shocked if you get a first-round pick. You know, I think at best you could hope for is like a second and a fourth, third and a fourth, something like that. Third and a fifth, I don't know. But it's not going to be, we aren't going to get the return anywhere close to the return that we gave up. Just be prepared for that one. So, listen. I don't know. Starting to run the course. Just shut up and play football, man. Right now. Like where we're at right now, we don't need this stuff. You guys have dug yourself because you guys have dug yourself in a big enough hole where, guess what? Stop worrying about the stuff that's going outside the building. It's time to just lock in and play football and win games and take care of what you can control. because you hadn't done that all season. Especially you. Anyways. That's where I'm at with the Tyreek thing. I don't get it. Now, moving forward, the Dolphins may have revealed their plan at backup quarterback moving forward. Dolphins deliver private clue about 2025 quarterback plan, and Tagovailoa, Waddle, Hill are all questionable. Impending unrestricted free agent Tyler Huntley, who was named the Dolphins' number 2 quarterback earlier this month, told the Miami Herald on Friday that the team has expressed an interest in bringing him back next season. Does that mean the Dolphins' decision on Tua Tagovailoa's backup for 2025 is totally settled? That's not certain because A, the Dolphins and Huntley first need to agree on a contract, presuming Miami doesn't change its mind, and B, it's possible Miami could bring in another player worthy of competing for the number 2 job, though that would be financially daunting. But Huntley's comments at his locker on Friday suggest that there's a very good chance that Tagovailoa's 2025 backup is already on the roster. I got a good feeling I'm going to be home for a little bit, the Dana Beach native said. Confirming that Miami's interest in keeping him beyond the season has been conveyed to his agent, Zeke Sandu. I'm going to be down here in Miami a little bit. It's all God's plan, but I've got a good feeling I'll be home for a little bit. Huntley went 1-2 as a starter for the Dolphins this season with 1 touchdown pass, 1 pick, and a 73.9 rating while Tagovailoa was out with a concussion. But he didn't have a firm grasp on what he calls a very complex offensive system in his first game against Tennessee and played better after that point. 2023, he had 3 touchdowns, no picks, and a 99.3 rating in 5 appearances and 1 start for Baltimore. For his career, Huntley, 26, has a 4-8 record, 9 touchdowns, 8 picks, a 78.2 passer rating. Of his 23 NFL appearances, 20 have been as a Baltimore Raven. The Cleveland Browns signed Huntley in 2024 offseason, but cut him in late August. Huntley then returned to the Ravens, where he played 4 seasons, primarily as a backup. Miami poached him off of Baltimore's practice squad after Tagovailoa was concussed in week 2 against Buffalo. Skylar Thompson started the first game that Tagovailoa missed, a 24-3 loss in Seattle, but struggled and sustained a chest injury. Never started again, is now on the Dolphins practice squad. In early December, McDaniel announced Huntley had supplanted Thompson as the number 2 quarterback. Explaining his decision, offensive coordinator Frank Smith referenced Huntley's mobility and his ability to extend plays. When your starter has a skill set and another has a different skill set, that's a challenge on the defense. The Dolphins have less than $5 million in 2025 cap space at the moment, and Huntley likely to be more affordable than a handful of players in a free agent class that is set to include Sam Darnold and Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, Cooper Rush, Jameis Winston, Mac Jones, Carson Wentz, Joe Flacco, Jimmy Garoppolo, Mason Rudolph, Andy Dalton, Marcus Mariota, Drew Lock, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, and Jarrett Stidham. Huntley also has an advantage of having learned McDaniel's system and played in it for 3 months. Huntley was a standout at Hallandale High. He won the 2015 Gatorade Player of the Year and went 34-10 as a 4-year starter. He passed for 9,053 yards and 106 touchdowns, set the Florida high school record for single-game passing attempts with 71, according to Max Preps. At Utah, Huntley was a first-team All Pac-12 selection as a senior. Baltimore signed him as an undrafted free agent in 2020. So here's a few things. Number 1, don't like this from the sense of this better not stop you in rounds 3 and beyond. If a quarterback falls in your lap, this better not stop you from taking a developmental guy. Seriously. Like, come on. You know, if my boy Jackson Dart's sitting there in the 3rd, I'm taking Jackson Dart. You know, that's just a fact. You know, if there are guys sitting late in the draft that are available, I will take them. Please, I'm begging you. I am on my knees begging you. Please do not allow this to stop you from taking good players. Please. You know, if Jackson Dart, Dylan Gabriel, Will Howard, or I really like Curtis Rourke out of Indiana. If one of those guys is there in the, late day, like on day 3, I would take that. Jackson Dart, I would take, in the 3rd round on day 2. But if any of those other guys like Gabriel, Riley Leonard, Will Howard, Curtis Rourke, if they were there late day 3, I would take those guys late day 3. I would, I quietly, if you could get Curtis Rourke in like the 5th round or later, I'd be all over that. I don't know if I don't know if there's confirmation about if Kyle McCord out of Syracuse is coming out. So I would still, I would still, and then when you go look at the free agency, now there were some names mentioned there. Okay, they're not going to pony up the money for Sam Darnold and Russell Wilson. Okay, Justin Fields and Cooper Rush, Jameis Winston, Mac Jones, Carson Wentz, Joe Flacco, like everyone out there. Honestly, the only one who I really like is the Red Rocket, Andy Dalton. But why would you go with Andy Dalton when you have had, by the time free agency comes around, Huntley's going to have been in this system for, over 6 months. And then by the time next season starts, he'll have been in it for quite some time. Right? Almost a year by the time the next season starts. And hey, all these people that lie to you and try to tell you, oh, this is a simple system. This is just simple. It's only built for Tua. It's simple. Look at what Huntley said. They quoted him. Huntley talked about how complex of a system this is. This is not easy stuff. This is one of the hardest systems in the NFL. So when these people come out here and try to go, oh, it's easy, blah, 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 anyone can do it, they're lying to you. Okay? Because how many times have you heard quarterbacks come in here and talk about how complicated the system is? Mike White talked about it. Everyone's talked about it. And then they come in here. Bridgewater talked about it, et cetera, et cetera. So, Huntley has a leg up. Mac Jones is playing. I see people in the chat talking about Mac Jones. Mac Jones is playing awful this season. Awful. And the problem is he's got a leg up on all these guys. The only ones I think you would pick over Huntley, given his time in the system, are Sam Darnold and Russell Wilson. And they're not going to pony up that money. So, that's just that. Andy Dalton, I would be down for the Red Rocket, but that's not happening. Let's be honest with ourselves. So, all right. Here's some news on Campbell and the offensive line for you guys. So here's an update on Calais Campbell. Dolphins defensive lineman Calais Campbell said he hopes to decide by March if he wants to play next season, and reiterated that the Dolphins will be a consideration if he chooses to play, and if Miami wants him back. PFF ranks Campbell as the NFL's 6th best interior defensive lineman this season. Brother, I want Campbell back 110%. Even if you release him and let him go for another team for a run, I'd still go and try and bring him back. Also, if the Dolphins are eliminated from playoff contention this weekend, Campbell could be released early next week in order to join a Super Bowl contender. He says he would need to be released early next week, well before the Week 18 game, to be eligible to join another team for the postseason. Nothing has changed with that, Campbell said. The Dolphins broached that idea to Campbell when they were considering trade options for him in November. Mike McDaniel intervened and vetoed a proposed trade to Baltimore with general manager Chris Greer's blessing. Baltimore had offered a 5th-round pick. According to the Athletic, another undisclosed team offered a 4th-round pick for Campbell and a Dolphins late-round pick. Campbell has declined to identify that team. So there you go. They had 2 offers. We were going to get a 4th or a 5th for him. Liam Eichenberg and Isaiah Wynn both played well in their right guard platoon against the 49ers. And Eichenberg said that even though he feared his rhythm might be disrupted, it wasn't. I was wondering about that, but once you're out there, you forget you weren't out there. Eichenberg, who previously had played every right guard snap this season, said Isaiah deserves to be out there as well. Of course, I wish he was out there the whole game, but he says he's happy doing whatever the team wants. Eichenberg, who's been battling a shoulder injury for weeks, said he felt better physically after the game. And now, here's the issue. Let's start off at the bottom there with that whole conversation about the rotation at guard. What are we doing here? Like, what are we doing here? You need to dive in head first on. You need to dive in head first on Isaiah Wynn. You think it's a coincidence Isaiah Wynn comes back and we have our first 100-yard rusher of the season? Please. Okay? That's number one. All right? Number two, Eichenberg has been a disaster, a mitigated disaster all year. And Mike McDaniel discussed it, discussing the Isaiah Wynn, Liam Eichenberg split up rep situation. He said, quote, "We would be open-minded to do the same thing, but maybe we won't." Give the reins to the man who deserves it. Give the reins to Isaiah Wynn. Come on. This run game has not looked anywhere near the same it was when him and Connor Williams went down last year. We had a spurt of 4 games where it looked like, oh my God, we figured it out. And then we went back to struggling to get 60 yards a game. Then Isaiah Wynn comes back and we blow the lids off with the run game. Stop playing these games, man. Seriously. I just don't get this. Now, the Dolphins. They are heading into Cleveland this weekend, and here is your Week 17 weather report. It looks like it's going to be anywhere from 53 down to 51 degrees Fahrenheit with a precipitation probability of about 82%. Good chance of rain. So it's going to be cold. It's going to be rainy, apparently. It's just not going to be pretty. It's going to be about 10 degrees Celsius. Just over 10 degrees Celsius. And then look at, you also got to deal with, the low is actually going to be around 40, actually. You also got to deal with, you see the 40, low there, 40. So it's going to be a cold one. Cloud cover, it's going to be about 88%, 89%. You're going to have winds out of the southwest of about 15 miles per hour. It is going to be a cold, ugly, rainy day in Cleveland. Can the Miami Dolphins get it done in the cold weather on the road? That is the main question. Now, continuing on here, let's get into the injury report. Here is your injury report for Week 17. Kendall Fuller, out. Anthony Walker, out. Armstead, questionable. Eskridge, questionable. Tyreek, questionable. Jordan Poyer, questionable. Tua Tagovailoa, questionable. Jalen Waddle, questionable. On the other side, they've lost David Njoku for the game. So that's huge. No Cedric Tillman for them as well. No Okoronkwo for the Browns as well. So they've got some injuries to their front. But other than that, they're pretty much healthy. So, now, let's go a little bit deeper here into the injury report. Here is the deal with your injury report. Now, we might be down. It's not an assurity that Waddle's going to play. He's trying to play. Now, we won't have Anthony Walker, but Mike McDaniel did sound a little optimistic about Waddle. Very optimistic about Brooks. It's Waddle seems like he's going to be a legitimate game time decision. So we're going to have Duke Riley or Tyrell Dotson basically in for Anthony Walker as well. You know, Poyer sounds like he's banged up, but he'll play. But probably practice with Patrick McMorris. What are we playing with right now? You got Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Please. Sounds like Taron Armstead's going to play as well. All right? So it does sound like Armstead's going to play. So we'll see how that all works out. But that's your injury report heading into Week 17. Now, how do these two teams stack up? You look at this. On offense, the Dolphins, they have the 17th ranked total offense. The Browns have the 25th. Dolphins 15th passing offense. Browns 19th. Dolphins are averaging 222.1 yards per game, while the Browns, they're averaging about 211.3 yards per game. And I know I always talk about this, but man, like, what a rise under Tua since he came back. Like, seriously. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of crazy. Kind of crazy. Because, I mean, when he came back for the Cardinals game, we were only averaging about 179.5 yards per game passing the football. Now we're averaging 221. He's literally risen it by 42 yards. And our total offense has gone from 22 to 17th. Anyways, Dolphins 25th running the ball. They've fallen off there. When he came back against the Cardinals, they were 11th in the NFL. Now they're 25th. Browns, they're 27th. Nick Chubb, he's hurt. Can't stay healthy. They're on to Jerome Ford now, right? Scoring offense. Dolphins, they have risen when Tua took over against Arizona. They were the 32nd scoring offense. They were averaging 11.7 points per game. Now they're 23rd. They're averaging 20.3 points per game. They've gone up almost a full 9 points since Tua took back over. Browns, they're 31st. They're averaging 16.3 points per game. Sacks allowed. Browns have allowed the most sacks in the NFL, 63. Dolphins, they've allowed the 15th most at 35. Third down offense, the Dolphins 17th. They convert at a 38.1 clip. Browns, they're 32nd. They convert at 28.4. Total defense, you look at this. The Dolphins, they're 8th. The Browns have fallen a long way from where they were the last couple of years. They're 19th. Dolphins allowing about 312.9 points per game. Browns, they're allowing about 339.9 points per game. Passing defense, the Dolphins, they're 11th. They're allowing 210.9 yards per game. Browns, they're 19th. They're 14th, allowing 212.5 yards per game, but they are 19th against the run, allowing 127.4 yards per game. The Dolphins are 6th against the rush right now, only allowing about 102.1 yards per game. Scoring defense, Dolphins are 10th. They're allowing 21.9 points per game. The Browns are 26th. They're allowing about 25.3 points per game. Sacks, Browns, they are tied for 14th. They have 37. The Dolphins, they only have 31, which is tied for 26th. Now, the Dolphins, they have the third best third down defense. 35% is what they're allowing offenses to convert at. The Browns, that's their best defensive stat. They're number 9 against third downs, right? They are 36.2% is what they're allowing opponents to convert at. When you look at the takeaways, the Browns defense, they only have 12. The Dolphins defense, they only have 13. So it's not a battle of teams that are just turning the ball over on defense. Giveaways, Dolphins have 17. The Browns have 30. They're 30th in the NFL in giveaways. That's ridiculous. Happy birthday to Chuck in the chat. Shout out to you, Chuck. Happy early birthday. Have a fantastic birthday, my friend. So, Browns are ugly when you break it down. And it gets even worse. Let's get into my keys to victory. So, number one, to me, keep pounding the rock. I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory after what we saw last week, no? You got to keep pounding the rock. All right? You against the number 19th rushing defense, they're allowing about, 127, just a little over 127 yards per game. You're coming off a game against San Francisco where you had your first 100-plus yard rusher of the season in Devon Achane, who was just an absolute beast in that game. Just an absolute monster. But collectively, as a team, you ran 30 times for 166 yards. You got to keep running the football. That's all there is to it right now. Just keep running the football, please. All right? For the love of everything holy, just keep running the football. So, because when you look at the Browns and what they're doing against the run, they allowed 22 carries for 116 yards last week to Cincinnati. Chase Brown had 18 carries for 91 yards. And I think we can all admit we got better running backs than Chase Brown in our stable of running backs. Look what they did against Kansas City. Kansas City had 35 carries for 132 yards. Right? Like, as a team, as a unit. So, they are allowing teams just to beat up on them in the run game. Right? Even the Steelers. The Steelers, last time they faced them, they had 35 carries for 120 yards in week 14? And then when you look at what they did in, a couple weeks prior to that, they had 34 carries for 120 yards against the Browns. And, that was just 2 weeks prior in week 12. I mean, these guys just allow, even Denver had 26 carries for 106 yards. Jaleel McLaughlin had 14 carries for 84 yards. He's averaging 6 yards a carry against them. So they allow them to get eaten up on the ground. Look at what New Orleans did to them. Taysom Hill had 7 carries for 138 yards. They allowed 28 carries for 214 yards to New Orleans. 138 yards to Taysom Hill in week 11. That's crazy. So, yeah, pound the rock. I think you got to slice up a Swiss cheese secondary. Because guess what? That's kind of what they got a little bit. When you look at what they're doing in coverage, I mean, it's not good. Cameron Mitchell, one of the boundary corners, he's got 132.9 passer rating when he's targeted. Greg Newsome's got 120.7 passer rating when he's targeted. Oh, yeah. Greg Newsome's also allowed 4 touchdowns in coverage, and Cameron Mitchell's also allowed 3 touchdowns in coverage. Cameron Mitchell's allowing a 74.1 reception percentage against him. Greg Newsome's allowing a 67.4 reception percentage against him. Juan Thornhill, safety when he's been in coverage, has allowed 143.2 passer rating and 2 touchdowns as well. And it gets even worse. Martin Emerson for them, who's allowing a 109.8 passer rating in coverage. He's allowed 6 touchdowns, and the majority of his snaps have come on the boundary. So you could target Mitchell in the slot because Mitchell will play with Cameron Mitchell, who's allowed 132.9 passer rating. He plays the slot and the corner, right? He's got 167 snaps in the slot to about 72 on the corner. So you could target the corner. You could target them out wide. You are putting numbers up against them. Even Denzel Ward has allowed 3 touchdowns in coverage. It's not pretty for them right now in the secondary. So Tua Tagovailoa, Tyreek Hill, Jonnu Smith. Hey, Malik Washington might be able to have a breakout game against these guys. And then obviously, I mean, this goes without saying. I mean, we knew what the deal was. You have to game plan for Garrett. I mean, even if Garrett looks checked out right now, I mean, you're talking about a guy with 73 pressures already on the season. 73. That is crazy. And then you add on the fact he's got 12 sacks off those 73 pressures. You know, he's forced 3 fumbles. 18 tackles for losses. I mean, Myles Garrett, even when he ain't locked in fully, you got a game plan for him. And thank God Terron Armstead's going to be out there. This is, again, why I would be not playing around with a guy like Eichenberg. I'd be having Win out there. I wouldn't be playing games right now. So, yeah, to me, keep pounding the rock. Slice up a Swiss cheese secondary. And no matter what, you always got a game plan for Garrett. What do I think about Tyler Show, who came out of Louisville, but he was originally, Tyler Show was actually like bounced around. I remember when he first came out from when he was with Oregon, right? Or Tyler Shuck, well, I guess is how you pronounce it, but I used to always call him Tyler Show. But he's okay. He's bounced around. I had high hopes on him coming in because I know he was a big time recruit coming out, right? Big time recruit. And, I think he was a 4-star, right? I'm not a huge fan. He's okay. I don't see him being anything at the next level, really. All right. Defensive keys to victory for the Miami Dolphins when we get into them. You got to dominate Dorian Thompson-Robinson. This shouldn't even be a contest. Dorian Thompson-Robinson hasn't thrown a touchdown yet. He's played 5 games. He's thrown 68 footballs. He's thrown 5 interceptions and been sacked 6 times. He's got a 51.5% completion percentage. You've got a team in the Cleveland Browns who have given up the most sacks in the NFL at 63. Their offensive line, just from a pressure standpoint, has given up a crazy amount of pressures this year with 224. So you should be able to dominate DTR. This guy hasn't thrown a touchdown pass yet, okay? Don't let you be the guys that he throws for 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no picks against. Now, he's ran for 109 yards on 15 carries, but he also hasn't scored a touchdown there. His longest run was 34 yards, so he can run, he can move a little bit. But Dorian Thompson-Robinson, he's not a starting quarterback in the NFL, and right now, he doesn't even look like a backup. So, no excuses. You better dominate. Number 2, you like this? Be built tougher than Ford. Hey, Ford built Ford tough. Well, guess what? Be built tougher than Ford. Jerome Ford, he's averaging about 5.5 yards per carry. Now, he's got 3 touchdowns on the season, but he's got 98 carries and already 543 yards. Jerome Ford has been actually pretty decent for them. I know because I've used him in fantasy as well. But, you look at him, 92 yards last week against Cincinnati, only on 11 carries. 7 carries the week before against Kansas City, 84 yards. He can put up yards if you give him the carries. He can also catch the football a little bit too, right? He had 5 receptions for 39 yards last week against Cincinnati. So, be built tougher than Ford. And pass rush should be licking their chops. Chop Robinson, Zach Seiler, Calais Campbell. Hell, Emmanuel Ogba, Quinn Bell want to get in on it? Knock themselves out. You want to blitz Ramsey and Brooks a little bit? Throw it at them. But the pass rush against an offense that's allowed over 220 pressures and allowed 63 sacks so far to this point of the season should be licking their chops. They should. Flat out. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. If I'm Chop Robinson right now, who has the second most sacks on the team with 6, this could be a game where Chop comes out with 2 or 3 sacks. Sealer could come away with 2 or 3 sacks. So, I mean, who is stopping? He's going to face, Chop's going to face Jermaine Ifedi and Jack Conklin. All right? Like, that ain't much at all. That ain't much at all. Jack Conklin's given up the most pressures on the team with 31. Jermaine Ifedi's given up the third most pressures on the team with 27. And Jermaine Ifedi's only played 8 games. Jack Conklin's played 10. Ifedi's only played 8. So, we should be able to go to work on those tackles. So, dominate Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Be built tougher than Ford. And the pass rush should be licking their chops. Those are my keys to victory for the Miami Dolphins. My player matchup to watch. Oh, this is easy. Dorian Thompson-Robinson against the Dolphins defense. Good luck to you, sir. Sealer and Chop and Calais should have days. Jordan Brooks should have a day. And Jalen Ramsey may come away with a pick. But Dorian Thompson-Robinson, you've got 5 interceptions, 2 fumbles, no touchdown passes, no touchdown runs. And I'm hoping this defense continues to have them locked out from enjoying putting 6 on the board. So that's my matchup to watch. The defense should dominate this pretty easily. Let's be honest with ourselves. They should have their way with Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Pause. My prediction, how I see this game going, I think we're going to pump them. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to take the Miami Dolphins 27-6. I think the Dolphins give them the work. So I'll take the Miami Dolphins 27-6. I do think they give them the work. I think they pump them, to be honest with you. I just don't think there's any two ways around it. I think they're going to get absolutely handled. Now, before we get out of here, everyone wants to say, it's just something we like to show around here. That whole 201 read narrative, according to analytics, all right, according to analytics, there's only 5 quarterbacks getting to their second read more than Tua right now, and that's Mahomes, Stroud, Bo Nix, Williams, and Jackson. Just saying. And guess what? Here's the reality. Only one of those quarterbacks, Lamar, has a higher EPA per pass attempt than Tua. So Mahomes, Stroud, Bo Nix, Williams, and Mahomes, Stroud, Bo Nix, and Williams, they get to their second read a little bit more than Tua, but he has a higher EPA per pass play attempt. But yes, Tua, right there in front of you, getting to his second read, the 6th highest in the NFL right now this season. So even when he's taking those checkdowns, you see the head. It's going 1, 2, bang, check down. Or it's going 1, 2, 3, bang, check down, because they're covered. The coverage is good downfield. So there you go. Guys, smash that like button, subscribe if you're new. We're going to be back on Sunday, and we are going to live react to the Dolphins and the Browns. We'll have the post-game show. Shout out to BetUS for sponsoring this episode. I love each and every one of you. Hope you're having a fantastic holiday season as we're right in the middle of it, and New Year's is just next week. So smash that like button. It goes a long way to helping me, so please smash the like button. Subscribe if you're new, and I appreciate each and every one of you, and I'll see y'all on Sunday. Love y'all. Fins up all day, every day. See y'all on the next one.